Our steam adventure begins in Belgrade. This figure signifies the freedom and spirit of the people of Belgrade and stands an Kalimagdan Castle, the site of the original fortified city here. Gateways, walls and towers are a reminder of its size and importance in days gone by. This massive domed church, the Temple of St. Sophia, is the largest cathedral in the world. But we came here to see steam engine. The best place to start is the station. Outside, a former powerful 210 passenger locomotive stands quietly in retirement after serving many years on Serbian railways, a reminder of how things used to be. Now Serbia has only 3 working steam locomotives, and we will see all of them. This little 262 tank engine is the first about to join our little train. Carriages are from Austria, around 1916 vintage, but were refurbished in 1966 for tourist train traffic. This little train will be ours for the next few days, pulled by different engines. This line now only runs by the River Danube and past the castle for a short distance to give tourists a feel of how things used to be in the days of steam. What you've just seen is a false start. In other words, everyone gets out and watches the train go by so we can take our photographs. This is another run-by where we are standing alongside the track as the train gives us a toot and rushes by. As a bonus, they've decided that we can film the train coming out of a tunnel. All the atmosphere of smoke and steam and noise added in for good measure. Another run-by, this time past an old Roman tower dating back over 2,000 years. with a bit of late afternoon sunshine coming out to make things slightly brighter, they've decided to do it all again. And there we go. On our way back to Belgrade station. And there, looking very sinister and menacing, is a very big passenger locomotive of around the late 1930s vintage. This is an ex-German built Kriegslok 210 locomotive, one of 300 handed over to Serbian railways as reparation after World War II. This loco is going to haul our little train for the next few days, and as our group busily click away with their cameras, the huge engine grinds very slowly to a stop. The following day, back at the station, and there is our engine ready for us on the front of our train already in the platform, and we're away. Another false start. The train has brought us to this point, we get off, and then it backs in to the station and comes out again so we can film it. Inside, the carriages are reasonably comfortable but a little Spartan by today's standard, and there's room to stand outside, although by today's standards all rather precarious. I'm sure if the health and safety people saw this, they would have a nightmare. Unfortunately, it's a bit dull and gloomy. Nevertheless, we're rattling along quite happily. Another run by. The restaurant car comes into its own way to service, of course, and everyone settles down to quite an enjoyable lunch, and we trundle through the countryside. Still rather gloomy. And then we come to our first stop. The Narrow Gauge Railway Museum at Pozigar. Rather sad, isn't it? Unfortunately, their term museum means storage area. And here some of the engines that used to work the line are just sitting, rusting away, just barely under cover. It's very tragic to say all these marvellous old pieces of machinery quietly getting overgrown, carriages as well. But Serbia is a poor country and is just coming out of the ravages of civil war. Meanwhile, back on the main line, there's other activity with modern up-to-date electrical locomotives trundling about. Wherever we went on this trip, the locals turned out by the dozen to have a look at the rare sight of a big steam locomotive. And we were off again. On to our next stop, where we have to wait until the main line train comes in before the track ahead of us is clear. And then we're off once again with lots of steam and smoke and noise. Another run by this time, standing well back to get a good panoramic type view of the train going past. Driver doing a wonderful job, putting out lots of smoke. The next day we took a trip on a narrow gauge railway. Motka Gora is the terminus of this little railway known as the Sagan 8. It's a 2-foot 6 gauge track and used to connect Belgrade and Dubrovnik from 1921. Now only 10 miles remain between Mokra Gora and the Bosnian border. Volunteers and enthusiasts cleared and rescued the 10 miles of this line in 1999, and now it's run as a tourist attraction. As usual, plenty of people turned up to see us, and a very attractive one was given a little ride in the cab, or rather an inspection of the cab, and we're off. From Mokra Gora it goes through 22 tunnels, goes over 5 bridges and rises over 1,000 feet, all in that 10 miles to the Bosnian border. The line does a figure of 8, hence the name Sargan 8, in order to climb the Sargan Mountains. Here we have another run by the little 080 engine working hard to climb the incline. Here we have one of those 22 tunnels. The carriages are from 1930s and are very comfortable. Here's one of the bridges. And goes into yet another one. Here we get off at a viewpoint. The engine and train will leave us here, and we get a chance, or just before it goes, we get a chance to look at some of the interesting markings on both the engine, the cab side there, and also on the side of the carriages, coats of arms and their wordings. Oh, here's another view of a train coming out of the tunnel. It is here that we look out over the beautiful valley between the mountains and also get a chance to look down onto the actual railway. You can see where it's snaking round the mountain in this figure of 8. And here's our little train, way below us. Isn't the engine driver doing a wonderful job with that whistle? We then joined up with the train a little later. Yet another run by. And into yet another tunnel. And here's our little train coming along once again, taking it very, very easily this time. No doubt there's a speed restriction on yet another bridge. And after a very pleasant day on the narrow gauge railway, we're back to Kraljevo in the morning. Fortunately, a nice fine sunny day with blue skies. Where our train from the previous day but one waits patiently for us. And not only for us, but also for an engine. And after a few minutes, it obediently comes backing gently into its train. This is the third of the Serbian steam engines in use, or still surviving. And a very attractive 262 loco it is, one of 19 as reparation from Germany, this time after World War I. This is a real Orient Express type loco of bygone years. Another run by as this attractive engine makes a rather gingerly passage across a bridge. This is another photo stop by, very attractive for Serbian station. Really was nice. And the train makes another false start, with most of us standing in a field with our cameras ready. back on board again. We roar through some rather lovely countryside, running alongside the road at the moment.
Okay. I'm sorry, we don't have beer.
And here is this marvellous man who rejoiced in the name of Soren, who was the Serbian manager of reserved railways in Serbia, and was the head one responsible for getting these marvellous old carriages and engines up and running again. Rather upsetting a local top there. We were now getting into some very attractive mountainous countryside, and we were in for a treat for the next few hours. The line takes us through a lovely gorge, through these wonderful cliffs. If only there weren't so many trees in the way. Here you can see the photographic line, so we don't get in each other's way. It works very well. We pulled into a station here where the lady and the cows seem to be getting on very well together. Station mistress this time, in the red hat. As usual, the locals turn out, especially the young lads, to see a steam engine. They don't get a chance very often. They were very excited, chasing us along on their bicycles. Not only the children, quite a few grown-ups. Another station master, this time a master proper, but this is Dimitrograd, where we are changing engines. We say goodbye to our lovely one and prepare to enter Bulgaria. This time we not only change engines, but the complete train. We leave everything from Serbia behind, the Republic of Serbia, and we get headed by a rather marvellous Mikado type engine, painted in Bulgarian colours, green and red, looking very, very, very good. The carriages also, this time, are from the 1960s vintage. We'll wait while the engine crew do the last minute preparations, drop of oil here and there. And our illustrious leader, Cedric, is being interviewed by Serbian television. Very attractive girl. Not sure whether he's asking her out for dinner or not. This engine is equipped with a marvellous American-style whistle, and it was absolutely fabulous to roar through the countryside with this wonderful whistle up front. And the sound of the engine, of course. Another station, and then we're off again. Lots of waving from the locals. Here the carriages, our buffet car, all laid out, plus one waiter service. Drinks on board, of course, all free. Passing through another station with the mainline electric train or engine on the front of a local train. What a wonderful sound. As you could see, wherever we went, we created intense interest people stopping what they were doing and waving as this wonderful engine went past with its train. They don't run very often, these tourist trains, just now and again. Our engine's working hard now. We're climbing very steadily. Long, long, long climb. Just to check to see the rest of the train is following. And we're over the top, upsetting a few horses and various other animals. Well, the locals loved it. And then we arrived at Septembri. There we are, Septembri. Gives us a chance to look at our coaches. And a member of the local wheel tappers and shunters club, no doubt. Our engine left our train here and runs light to join us again in a few minutes. There it is, standing outside a large engine repair depot. You can see what it says quite clearly. And this is a junction between the main standard gauge lines and another narrow gauge line. Now here, listening on a Bulgarian conversation. And this is the engine we've been waiting for, number 609. This engine was taken out of service after many years and left to rot and to rust, as so many engines are once diesels and electric comes into being. But a few years ago they decided to renovate this engine at the works here, and there she is in pristine condition, and now hauls the train over the narrow gauge line to Vellingrad. This really is quite a monstrous tank engine, built in Poland some years ago. We're now waiting for a main line train to come through, still on narrow gauge. Oh, get out, get out. The engine, you see, has a spare water tank just behind it. This is the Rhodope mountain line, opened in 1922, and is the only surviving Bulgarian railway narrow gauge line. It used to haul logs to a paper factory, but now its future is uncertain. It's a great pity the weather has turned dull and cloudy, because this is a very scenic line. Our 210-2 engine was built in 1949 and was reborn in 2005. Two other similar locos are at present being renovated for this line, and it is hoped to keep it open as a tourist line for the future. The railway line, the river and the road follow through a valley between these mountains, which are now becoming rather hidden in cloud, and of course our smoke. With a bit of imagination, one can visualize how this would have looked in lovely sunny weather. Now we come to a station with a magnificent mountain backdrop for a photo stop. But unfortunately our engine's having a bit of a difficulty getting a grip to rather wet rails, and it's very gloomy. As one expects, there are plenty of tunnels and bridges on this line. And now up front you can see cars stationary in the road, and this is because the track crosses over the road, and of course we are now holding up all the traffic, which doesn't worry us at all, but no doubt some of the motorists get a bit fed up, but they have this wonderful sight, the steam engine and this little train going over its bridge. Despite lots of modern transport, there are still plenty of horse-drawn trucks going along. A stop at one of the local stations.
What a shot! What a shot!
But the following day dawns bright and sunny, and our little engine stands all ready to give it its best up the mountain. This engine also has an American-style whistle, and it sounds wonderful echoing around the hills. This is a very picturesque line, and thankfully we do have some sunshine today.
Oh, this is a wonderful shot. Look at the trains in the way.
This dear old lady had a cow on a lead. It also had a goat. That's probably all she owned. This is Avramovo, and as the notice says, it's the highest station in Bulgaria at 4,000 feet. And because now we're going downhill, it was decided for safety reasons to put an electric locomotive on the front to give us extra braking power. As you can hear, our engine wasn't going to be outdone by some electric molten thing. It was whistling happily most of the way down. We're now approaching the end of our narrow gauge trip and take one last look at our engine. And then it's on to the delightful Spa Hotel de Voresta, with its magnificent stairway approaching the hotel. And in the evening sunshine we take a look at this really quite delightful spot This is steam rising from the pool because it is a spa. This is hot water bubbling up through the ground. There's a sort of waterfall arrangement at the back, although it's not working at the moment. There's the kiddies pool. And another one. It's set in the most delightful part of the country. Beautiful trees, lovely surroundings. But it's time to get back to our station at Sempremvril. The next morning, our standard gauge train awaits us, but first we wait for a mainline train to go through. You will notice the last four are car-carrying transporter wagons. And with that wonderful whistle, we're off again. This is our compartments. They're quite comfortable. They're from Sixter-style coaches, and each are designed to sleep 4 people. You can see there's plenty of luggage rack space. Our next stop is Plovdiv Station. And this is really quite some station. Look at the magnificent Russian-style buildings standing behind our train. Our Mikado, which has served us well, was built in 1935, totally overhauled in 2003, and as you can see, looks and sounds quite wonderful. This is another run past. Inside our train again, it's very comfortable. And we arrive at our next stop, which is Dimitrograd, where we change over engines and say goodbye to our wonderful Mikado. And we get ready for a run behind a Kriegslock, a 210 loco, which was refurbished completely in 2005. And here our 2 engines pause side by side for us for a photo. Once again, all the locals turn out to see a steam engine. And there's a few modern trains. And the platform opposite. Once again, our red-capped station master in full charge as we move off in clouds of steam and smoke, with all the locals waving and little children all very excited. It was great to watch. Unfortunately, today was very dull and gloomy, but we didn't let that dampen our spirits as we got on with the business of filming our trains. That's not a rocket launching station, it's one of the Muslim mosques that they have in a lot of places in Bulgaria. Once again, the locals are here, in their numbers, thoroughly enjoying the sight of an engine. Even running along the track, keeping stationed with us as far as they could go. Driver doing a wonderful job. With the smoke here, it looks like the Canadian Rockies or somewhere similar, doesn't it? Another stop, and this time in the morning we set off with yet again a false start, a most impressive one this time. Fortunately today we have a little more sunshine, which highlights things, and our engine and crew seem to be working very well up front as we roll happily through the countryside. This was a lovely place, wide open country, blue skies, sunshine, and a wonderful panoramic shot of our train. We all enjoyed that one so much, we asked if they could do it again, and they said yes, of course. station, another lakeside view. We wanted to enjoy this as much as possible because this was our last day hauled by a steam train. We were passing through some pretty spectacular countryside again. And the wonderful engine looking terrific at the front. Another rocket launching station. As the day draws to a close, we have another run by. Last few glimpses of our terrific engine. Passed through the last station of the last steam run before making the last stretch into our destination station, Nesibar. We arrived just in time to see an evening modern train about to depart. Once again, we get a friendly wave. This is the Hotel Festa Panorama, right on the Black Sea coast at Nesibar. After a lot of travelling, it was once nice to relax for a couple of days. Then it was back to to the impressive station. This time we will be travelling on a service train hauled by 2 electric locos to Sophia. But our main own coach was there at the back, which we saw a few minutes ago. Imagine British Rail doing that for us. We settled down for the long run travelling due east to the Sophia, capital of Bulgaria. During the last 9 days we had covered 1,000 miles on various trains pulled by 7 different steam engines. Much of the route we had taken was the same as the original Orient Express. On this train, however, there would be no photo stops, false starts or run-bys, and no searching for the best spot to get our pictures. We arrive at Sophia station after dark, and then after unloading cases, etc., we made our way to the hotel. In the morning, with cases packed, we take a quick look in daylight at Sophia in the hotel grounds. Our faithful coach has arrived, and then off to the airport and home. It had been a terrific trip.